Hi, let's talk about relationships and treating our mates, our spouses, how they ought to be treated, how they like to be treated, how they should be treated. A lot of times we can, have a spouse, your husband, your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, but mainly I'm talking to married people because dating people, you're still experimenting and you're trying to get to that point to where you've chosen that forever moment. But what I want to say is that, for those of you that are married, you know if you're dating, you should, of course, that's you're interviewing for marriage. That means that you're thinking about getting married and you're trying to see if this person is the right one that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Well, let me give you a clue on that. First of all, there's no such thing as a perfect person, but there is a such thing as the right person and the right situation and the right timing. But let me talk about, treating for those that are married. A lot of times we can, be married and we can we have these expectations that sometimes we have before we came into marriage, due to our perception, either by the way we were raised or the way that we were taught, and we were expecting a certain thing. Now, mind you, we didn't talk about these things while we were dating, but I expect you to know these things and to do these things and to carry these things out when we get married, such as I expect you to know what I want. I expect you to know how I feel. I expect you to know why I'm upset. I expect you to know when I want to make love. All of these different things. And so we come into marriage and we put all of these expectations on the other person without even talking about it before we got married. That's why premarital counseling is a must. It is so important that you do that. It is not something that you should take lightly or skip over. You should go to marriage counseling even after the marriage ceremony has been done. You do not stop counsel. You continue until it's to get the tools so that you know how to be married, how to fight the right way, how to love the right way. You get all the tools that God would intend for you to have, so that you can have a healthy, beautiful, productive marriage that was much better than the money you spent on this awesome marriage 30-minute ceremony and all the bridesmaids and groomsmen and all the dresses and the honeymoon and everything. We spend a lot of money for that stuff. But a lot of times we can hold out on our spouse because we think they're not perfect. And we can either hold back physically, emotionally, financially, don't want to make love, all of these things because we feel like, well, my spouse is not meeting all of my needs, so why should I go all the way in? Or my wife is not perfect, my husband's not perfect, why should I go all the way in? Well, you should go all the way in because you told them you would. You stood before God and on a bunch of witnesses and strangers and said that you would love this person till death do you part, and that you would do everything. Those vows said that you are 100% in. So women, if you have a husband and he's not perfect right now, he's not in where he's supposed to be, maybe with God, maybe in his finances, maybe how to talk to you or how to love you, that does not mean it's a lost cause. It's time for divorce. If he's not beating on you or he's not cheating on you, there's no divorce talk in there. So no one should be in a relationship where someone's abusing them, but that doesn't mean you run for the divorce court. There's a thing called counseling. People can be corrected. And if you're in that situation, of course, you don't go back into that situation until that person has gotten counseling and they have proven that they are delivered from that situation. They're no longer abusive. They understand who they are, what they were wrong, and that it's been corrected. So, husband, if your wife is not beating on you or cheating on you, then there's no reason for you to be talking about leaving her. The one thing about when we fight, we should never threaten each other to leave each other or for divorce or any of these things, because most of the things we fight about have nothing to do with divorce issues. When Jesus talked to people about divorce, he only said that there's only one reason, and that's if your spouse is committing adultery. They're cheating on you. And of course, he's not telling you to stay with someone who's beating on you, but you don't run to divorce court if that's the situation, unless that person is just that type of person and they're really dangerous that way. You should get out of it. But what I'm saying is, if your mate is not what you call perfect, they're not doing everything right, doesn't mean you hold out on them. If you were married to the king or queen of the United States, which that's what your husband or your wife is, how would you serve them every day? Would you want to make sure that they were very well loved, attended to, that you took care of them, that you served them, that you were there for them, that you listened to them, you talk to them, you communicate with them, you make love to them as much as possible so that there is no temptation in your marriage? That's the things that we're supposed to do. So if you have a spouse right now and you feel like that they're not everything that you think they should be, that's your perception. You need to look at them from God's point of view. And he said, he didn't ask you to wait till they're perfect. Love them the way that they should be. So if your man is not acting like a king, you should be treating him like a king. You should be talking to him like a king. You should not be talking to him from the point that he's operating in at this very moment. You should be talking to him from the point, from the way that God sees him, and you'll speak into his life. If your wife is not where you think she ought to be, are you loving her from Christ's point of view? You should be talking to her the way that God would talk to her. She's a queen. She's priceless. You should be making her feel secure with your love, with your provision, your protection, your prayers, your communication, everything you do. We're supposed to do it the way God would have us to do it. So, that's what I wanted to say to all of you that are married and maybe feeling like, well, my spouse is not meeting my expectations. You got to meet the expectations that God expects you to meet, and then you keep doing that. You don't hold back. You're always 100% in, and you're always praying for your spouse. You're always asking God to help you to be the spouse that you should be, and to help your spouse to be the spouse that they should be according to what he has for our purpose. Because if we do it his way, it's perfect, guys. Let us stop trying to do things and get people that we can't change people. That's not our job. Our responsibility is to love them. And if I married you the way you are, then all I need to do is marry you and love you and continue to just be the best me I can be everything God wants me to be, and to love you to life, and not to try to tell you who you should be, because I'm supposed to already like the way you are when I married you. So let us stop trying to change each other. Go all in. It's 100%, not 50-50. Love is the key to all things. God's excited about your future. So am I.